Okay, wait a second, hear me out here. My wife has no emotion isn't actually as weird as it sounds. I just finished watching episode 1 of the anime, and you know what? I expected it to be sort of semi-wholesome, and yeah, it actually was kind of fun. I actually kind of enjoyed episode 1. The show definitely had a lot of fun moments, and in this one, I will be diving more into this show, what I like about it, what I might not like about it, and my outlook on the season for this show, and if maybe you too should give it a try if you haven't already. So, okay, let's quickly talk about the premise, right? Obviously, we've had multiple anime like this over the years, over the last few decades, really. And we have had MCs being in relationships with all sorts of inanimate objects. So Robot is kind of a step up from many other examples, to be fair. Going into this, I sort of thought that, okay, you know, it might be a quirky premise, but if it's done well, it might not be too bad. And I actually have quite enjoyed our MC, even though it is kind of weird how he acts around the robot and how down bad he might be in some cases, seemingly. The interactions he has with his robot waifu are actually really cute, really wholesome most of the time, and also very funny a lot of the time as well. The sort of underlying humor has really hit well with me in the first episode, and it really gels with my type of, well, what I find enjoyable and fun in a show like this. Nothing has seemed super weird or, let's say, off-putting, though secondhand embarrassment is definitely something you might pick up while watching this show. But yeah, the premise, while it might sound somewhat iffy, turns out to be very decent in terms of its execution so far. I mean, I don't know how it will turn out over the course of the entire season. I mean, if they keep going with this same premise of MC, robot waifu, and they just have the same sort of interactions episode by episode, and they don't develop their relationship, quote unquote, or introduce other characters, or flesh out the world they are in, or do something more than what they did in episode 1, yeah, then it will probably get old somewhat quickly. But if they keep just developing the show as they have been from this point onwards, yeah, it might actually be a sort of sleeper hit among a certain section of the audience this summer season. Okay, so this next portion here I want to talk about might make some people triggered, which of course is very common. It's the internet after all. But I want to talk about how not really unrealistic this show is. I mean, at this point in time, especially with the rise of AI and its rapid progression, the rapid progression in robotics and such as well, these sort of products, if you want to call it that, these sort of appliances will be coming out eventually. I mean, to me, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. There's a definite market for it, and there are a lot of reasons for the market existing, which I will get into as well. But this is not really something that is unrealistic. It's inevitable, in my opinion, that it will come out in various forms and be improved over time. And while it might not be good for the birth rates in multiple countries, it will be something I would say many men actually strive to have. Because when you think about it, many men long for the kind of relationship that is displayed here in this anime so far. And what I mean by that, to be clear, is that having a wife, having a waifu, even though it's a robot in this case, but having one that cooks for you, cleans for you, tidies up, takes care of the chores, takes care of the home, takes care of your entire house, right? Just takes care of everything so you don't have to. When you are working long days and you just want to come home, you have food that's ready. Maybe you have a beer that's being served to you. You have someone that isn't gonna nag, isn't gonna complain, isn't going to demand you do something to fix something while you just have come home being super fatigued and tired. Someone that's not going to empty your wallet every 5 days because they feel they are owed it. I mean, again, this is something that many men, I would very much argue, want, and that they are not getting more promptly from IRL 3D women, especially in the Western Hemisphere. I have enough experience myself, and I'm sure some of you do as well, with IRL relationships and how subpar they can be, especially with the rise of modern Western feminism and how that has gone haywire, in my opinion. You can complain and be triggered all you like. But because of how women act and what they, let's say, refuse to be subjected to, which is cooking, cleaning, or many other things that a traditional wife might do, really lends credence, again, to men wanting this sort of product to replace something that they can't really find, or if they can't, very, very tough to find in the, let's say, real world of females. This in addition to modern women, at least in the Western Hemisphere, to be exact here, very often, very more often than not, lack a, let's say, wifely tact. They lack wifely femininity. It just isn't allowed, per se, by the tenets of modern feminism or modern quote-unquote equality. And that, as mentioned, as said, as explained, drives the market for products like this in this anime and inevitably in the real world as well. Now, okay, I'll move on from the allegories to the real world and stop triggering some of you people. Let's just talk about the anime, shall we? But before we get to that point on the humor, quirkiness, and fun of this anime so far for me, if you are enjoying the video, getting the value out of it, want to see me cover this anime or others in this season, do please remember to like and subscribe. It does greatly help me out and I deeply appreciate it, so thank you. Now, I think the highlight for me in this show so far after episode 1 is definitely the sort of quirky, wholesome, though somewhat weird, embarrassing mix that this show represents. You get multiple scenes that I just really cracked myself up over and smirked a ton over, that I had to just pause the episode, facepalm to myself before continuing, because it's just so over the top yet also entertaining that it made it really enjoyable for me as a experience. Everything from our MC being down bad and getting embarrassed just by holding her hand or jokingly asking her to be his wife, or him trying to make food, but the robot wife just clasping with that firm grip, I assume, taking his hand off the cooking stove and whatnot. Be like, no, you sit down and wait. I'll make food because you damn aren't good at it, you know? And just all the other sort of random, weird, how will we handle these situations when, let's say, when the main character and the robot are man and wife, well, so to speak anyway, at the later ends of the episode, and the robot asks, well, what does a wife do? Inevitably being like, me in my head thinking, well, how about that road bussy? But no, it's just like the entire set of interactions in the episode just keep me so entertained and kept me very just in light spirits. And it felt really refreshing. And in some scenes, I almost wanted to spit out my coffee, especially when he gets super drunk, basically lets out an admittance that he is horny and whatnot. And then the robot wife searching it up on the internet, laying in bed there with him, because of course he got her to sleep with him in bed, not, sleep with him in the other way. And then she promptly responds, are you in a state of sexual arousal? It's like, god damn. I almost spit over my entire keyboard. And those are the sort of situations in an anime like this that I just really enjoy, that I just really find fun, that I personally just find really hits the spot for me and what I want out of something like this. It's cute, it's adorable, it's wholesome, it is also sort of funny, quirky, weird, but in a good way. And I think that is by far the biggest selling point for me with this anime. And if they keep going with this, let's say, quality, so to speak, throughout the rest of the season, I think I'll actually end up enjoying it a whole lot. And that brings me to my, let's say, overall very early first impressions of the show, being that, yeah, the show is cute, it is adorable, it is wholesome, even though it might be secondhand embarrassing and weird time to time as well, having those very mixed feelings for you time to time, but still overall positive ones. But above all, in this first episode, it made me smile, made me smirk, made me laugh, while also just shaking my head, getting some secondhand embarrassment, and facepalming time to time, but having a really good time while doing so, right? And I think that is all you can really ask for in a show like this. Of course, it can always be better, it can always do more, but if it keeps going in this direction, taking this route throughout the rest of the season, yeah, I think I'll have a good time with it. I think many of you, though you might initially feel it's a bit weird and you're not sure about the show, just give it a try. I think many of you will actually like it, outside the whole premise and any sort of stigma or weird feelings you might have about it. I think it's cute. I think it's enjoyable so far. I don't know if it will last the whole season, depending on how they progress the plot, so to speak, or how they progress the characters. But if they keep going with the pace they are right now, yeah, I think it'll be a nice, fun, good time. Anyhow, though, what do you think of this show in episode 1 if you have watched it? Like it, hate it, leave all those comments and thoughts down below. Any thoughts on the video as well, of course? Comment anything you wish. And again, as a final note, if you haven't watched it yet and you are unsure, I would recommend giving episode 1 a try to see if you jive with it as much as I did. Anyhow, though, hope you enjoyed the video. I will most likely be covering this moving forward, at least, depending on how well it does on the channel. And with all that being said, I hope you have a good day, keep watching anime, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
たくま様は 性的に興奮されている状態なのですか？
もしかしてネット検索した？
しました。